Hello, I'm Philipp Meyer. Welcome to my video blog. In this video, I'll show you my recently acquired vintage Macintosh II, which has an unusual display. So let's have a look. So this is the Macintosh II I recently acquired. Came in a huge box. Thank you to the seller for packing that so nicely. Yeah, and I think before I do any changes to the machine, installing a new OS and so on, I should document the current state. There's definitely some stuff to do with that. Yeah, I acquired this mostly because of the monitor. I think the monitor is the interesting part here. It's from Xerox, and as you might know, Xerox also did this Xerox Alto experiment, which also had these portrait style screen. So Apple adapted that, and by the original idea came mostly from Xerox, I think. And yeah, maybe they saw a business case in making these monitors for text editing. So the idea behind was just to have a monitor that has almost the same size of an A4 paper sheet, so that you could edit the full page. You could edit and see the full page in at one, at once. So no need to scroll. And yeah, anyway, the Macintosh I got is in semi-good condition. I think it came from a smoker's office, so that's why it's a bit yellowish. But that's okay. The keyboard is slightly damaged, so this cap came loose, but that's absolutely no problem to fix it. The overall condition is nice. I think it's okay. So yeah, I managed to the way I set up the machine was almost the same where it was in the office where it came from. You can tell by the yellow patina, so to say. I mean, this is the original color of the case, and this is the cigarette brown style, whatever color, and as well for the monitor piece here. Or maybe it was just sunlight that was the cause here, but I think this is pretty much how the machine was set up in the office where it came from. As far as I know, it's probably was used in a small company. I don't know exactly. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't do any modifications to the machine yet. I just unpacked it and set it up. And yeah, I can switch it on. The monitor suffers a bit from a loose coil, so the sound you might hear now is just maybe it's a flyback that is not that's just the frequency of the flyback. I think that makes the sound here. And yes, there's not an image from the computer. It's just noise that's inside the cable. The machine is powered on using this button here. That's common for Apple computers to switch them on. I think this is called soft start or soft power on. So now it's starting, and you get the usual Apple startup screen. Yeah, and a strange startup sound. I don't know where it comes from. I guess it's from the virus scanner that's installed on this machine. And that's basically it. So that's how it was. The machine was retired, and I think we can close these ones. They are not really needed for that. What I want to show. I mean, this is a very early version of Mac OS, I think. So we can see here. So that's the final version and the system version, so 6.04. So let's say from the pre-System 7 era. So that's really pretty old. And yeah, I think I will just give this machine a bigger hard drive and just install the OS I already have. I just will just rewrite the image and then I clone my Macintosh II CI. That should do pretty well. And there's another thing I want to show you about this monitor. When I move this window up, you can see a little hardware accelerated optical effect. That's because of the phosphor. So this monitor has a really nice afterglowing phosphor, similar to the IBM screens, but it's not green in this case. In this case, it's a white, and this afterglow is yellowish. I think that's the mixture of the phosphor. So the parts that emit the yellows and red parts, that is glowing longer than the blue wavelengths. So yeah, that's a really nice effect. I really like that, and probably the reason why they have chosen such a phosphor mixture is just because they wanted to minimize the flickering. And yeah, we have the hard drive here. I'm a bit confused. I do not see any system folder here. Maybe they didn't have that back in the day, so maybe the folder is somehow hidden. I don't know what's wrong here. Yeah, we also have this control felt. I remember from the older Mac OSs. That's all. That's your complete. Yeah, that's set up everything. So. Yeah, and there's not much to set up. There's Monitore, which is the plural of monitors, and what you can see here is a little one. So if you would attach another monitor, you would have two monitors. So this is a feature that back in the days that was almost unknown. So having multiple monitors with a PC, that was just barely possible, but Apple just had that in the OS directly built in back in the day. So that again shows how advanced Apple was back in the days. So their OSs were really high end, so to say, for the time. So they were way ahead. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to show. I mean, this OS is a bit of a mess, and I think I will just wipe the hard drive and yeah, install something new here. So opening the machine is quite simple. You just press these levers here on the sides, then you can lift the cover. But be careful, don't lift it too much, because then you will ruin the brackets there. There are little brackets here, and here you would ruin that if you are not careful. And yeah, this is not heavy metal as the IBMs are, but still okay. So here we have hard drive and a floppy drive. I didn't try that yet. I exchanged my data directly by removing the hard drive, connecting it to the PC's SCSI controller, and then I use Unix tools and DD and stuff to convert data. That turned to be out. That's just more effective. That's how I do. I mean, diskette and these disks. I mean, I like floppy disks, but yeah, not no, just no. Yeah, this is from Quantum, an unusual format. But yeah, I think that was the best they could get at the time. And yeah, there are some confusion about the sign here. I mean, it obviously shows. I mean, it's not a warning for heat. I mean, this hard drive doesn't get hot. Yeah, the warning here shows basically an electrical field, so that's for static, basically a static discharge warning, so that you wear your protection wristbands and stuff. I do not have on currently, but anyway, I don't care. Yeah, but that's just a warning sign to avoid static discharge. That's all. I think it's a bit messed up because it's confusing, but yeah. Anyway, so it's 40 megabytes. It's the Apple sticker here, and it's 40 megabyte quantum hard drive attached to this SCSI port, of course. What else to say? This is the graphics card. It's a bit unusual. I think this is some no-name graphic card. I mean, look at this EEPROM here. It says Xerox something 900. I guess this card is some Radius clone or so. That's definitely nothing fancy. So there's also no manufacturer name on it. I think that was just cheaper. It was just cheaper than the original, and that's my idea how they used it. The card, I mean, the nice thing about these, I should unplug it first. The nice thing about these Apple machines is you almost do not need any tools to do service to them. You can even remove the cards by just using one hand. That's possible. So that's the card, and it's really unusual, and yeah, I don't know. It looks like looks a bit makeshift, so to say. It doesn't look really like a serious product. It only has the copyright 1981 or 1987. Yeah, I think it's a 7. Memory plus, whatever that means. And I mean, look at this bodging here. I think that should be some impedance matching or whatever I don't know. That's not really professional, and looks like they made this in some backyard, maybe even with pirated firmware or so. I mean, this Xerox 720K 900. I mean, I don't know. I should draw a copy of this EEPROM just to be sure that I have it in case the content gets lost. Yeah, I think next what we should do is we should move this drive cluster and look what's underneath. So if you loosen these 4 screws here, and 2 over there, and of course the cables, then this comes off as a piece, and that's pretty nice. And these hard drives really heavy. I mean, it's a really unusual thing. I mean, it's also, it's a really massive hard drive. So here we have the good stuff. So this is the CPU, the famous Motorola 68K, and this is the coprocessor. And then we have the floppy controller chip and the sound chip. I recommend the Macintosh full tour from Jason's Macintosh Museum. He also disassembles Macintosh and shows what's the details, and that's far more detailed than what I will give you here now. I mean, I show you obvious things. So here we have the system ROM, so that's the firmware there, and it's nicely socketed so I could read it out in theory. And we have the RAM here, and I think I have lots of these modules in my basement. I think I can easily upgrade the machine to its maximum configuration. And then we have another thing which I like, and at the same time I don't like it. These are these 2 batteries here. I think the upper one is the one for the clock, so that's fairly common for PCs. Still today, you have the real-time clock battery to keep the real-time clock running. But there's a second battery, and this second battery is the startup battery. So it's just like with a car. you need this battery to power a relay inside the power supply, and then it's starting up, and so you need a short current pulse basically through a relay inside the power supply to start the machine. And yeah, that's needed because you have this soft start here, so that closes the circuit that then starts the power supply off of this little battery. And when this battery goes bad, yeah, then that's game over. Then you cannot start up your Macintosh anymore. I mean, these are 3 volt, even 3.6 volt lithium batteries. I mean, you have to replace them. Then your Macintosh will most likely work again. But yeah, if you have a Macintosh that won't power on by pressing the soft start key, yeah, just look for the batteries. Mine are still good, as you see. No problems with that. My Macintosh starts without any problems. Yeah, there's not much left to show. I mean, I showed you this unusual graphics card. And yeah, the power supply is from Aztec, of course. This is pretty common. I mean, Aztec is still today one of the market leader for switching mode power supplies. And yeah, I think for a good reason, because these power supplies are really durable and really good. I think I should clean the mess out of the machine, and it looks like it was the previous owner was not too careful with this, I think. But anyway, doesn't care. I mean, I think I will now assemble the machine again and test it, and then we are through. And then for me, basically, the game will start. I will try some things out, replace the hard drive, and so on. Upgrade the RAM. Yeah, that will be it. So I have the machine up and running here, and as I said, the monitor is one of the most interesting pieces here, so I think we should have a look into that now. That's the back of the monitor, and not very unusual. I mean, we have signal input, power plug, the type plate. I mean, it literally says nothing. I mean, we have the date, 1987. Do we even have the type or something? I don't know. So this is quite strange. So there's product code. Yeah, would have expected a little more, but anyway. So behind these holes, there are some of these parts that control different properties of the monitor, but unfortunately there's no labeling. So I don't know which part does what, so would have to look it up in the service manual or somewhere. So we don't have it, so we have to try out. So to open it, you have to loosen the 4 screws at the back, of course. And you also have to unscrew this thing that has, again, 4 screws. So without removing that, it doesn't open, because it's these holes by screwing it to the metal, to the inner metal parts, and that inhibits the case from being lifted off. So, and here we see the beauty of 1980s technology. I mean, this is from the time where computers were basically some professional gear. So today I know it's basically every household has one. But back in the days, these things were really expensive. I guess one of these monitors, that probably cost a fortune, especially from Xerox. That was not the cheap shit, and So it's built like a tank. So it's this is a really nice design. I mean, a bit dirty, but yeah, I really like it. It protects all the inner parts. I mean, you could operate it safely while having the case open. And yeah, so the pots that are reachable from outside, they are right behind these holes. So they are little pots. So unfortunately, we do not really know what they are doing. Maybe it's labeled on the PCB somewhere. And there's barely one label visible. I don't know, it probably reads height or something. I don't know. Yeah, the camera won't focus onto that, but I can read it from here. So that's are the pots, and yeah, maybe there's more. So can look here over this PCB really quick. Is there something there? I don't see it. Sometimes there are pots visible from the outside. So, oh, look at that. There are holes and they are a little different from the other ones. And guess what? There are pots behind. At least there's one here. That reads. Does it read anything on the PCB? Not really. Seems not to be labeled at all. This one. Oh, this one is labeled with. This is your width. Probably this one is with some label. Focus a little away. Yeah, it's sometimes difficult to find that out, but we can easily do some experiments. So remove the plate in the back, and so we have another pot right here, and 5 pots that are accessible from the outside. They have these reads here: height, V hold. The other ones are hidden behind this plastic bar. So we have a switching mode, power supply, of course. Flyback is there. So that's the flyback. That obviously is the monitor electronics. I think that's almost all. It's one board and that's it. Then you have the picture tube type plate. So it's a Matsushita. Yeah, nice stuff. So that's good stuff. Yeah, I think we'll try to hook it up so that it runs again, and then we try out a few of these pots. So the main issue I have with that monitor is that the picture is really dim, and normally that's a sign that the picture tube is a little end of life. But sometimes it could also mean that there are just some adjustments necessary. The problem is, I mean, the camera doesn't really show, but the pots that sets the brightness here are cranked all the way up to the very end. So that's the max brightness I can get out of these right now. So, and by poking around a bit, I find even another pot that sits right there. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but it's behind this hole here, and there's a little blue pot. It's difficult to show it with the camera because got it now. So these pot here, and unfortunately there's, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little metal thing standing out here, which is probably a measurement point, and if you use a metal screwdriver, which you shouldn't, but I don't have any other right now. You might easily short out things like that, so I wrapped it in tape to be a bit more safe. I know it's not, it's still not okay, I mean, but yeah. You of course will get professional adjustment screwdrivers. So yeah, let's go into that hole. And as I said, by poking around here a bit here, I found out that's some pot that somehow controls the brightness of the screen. So with that you would basically set up the working range of the potentiometer of the front. So, and look at this, it's getting very bright, so there's still a lot of life in this picture tube, I think. So that should not be a problem to adjust that. So we have two controls on this monitor, basically a contrast and a brightness one. And to adjust things like that, I try to have both of them in the middle, and then I will adjust it to the optimal possible image. So that's how I do it. So I have them both now at the middle position, and there's just no picture visible. So now let's get this screwdriver in and set it up. So here it comes. Oh yeah, that was the monitor cable, sorry. So I'm still at the very end of this pot. And what I try to do is, I mean, it's a bit difficult to see with the camera, but okay, I can pick it up. So you see the image where it should be an image, of course, that's the white thing with the Papierkorb there. And you see these, basically that at the end of the image that should be black but isn't. So and what I do is I go crank it down until these black at the side. You see that is now it's there, now it's gray, and now it's really black. And so at the point where that vanishes, that's the optimal setting. So that's optimal now. Now I can have it even brighter. Now I can lower the brightness as I like. So put the contrast a little lower. That's yeah, it goes a bit out of focus when it's too bright, I notice. But okay, now we have a lot more brightness, so that's kind of cool. So I cranked it a little bit up now in the brightness, and I don't know if that's very visible, but you notice that it's going a bit out of focus when it's going brighter. But I think we can just resolve on that by adjusting the focus a bit. So the focus sits right here, so that's a little high voltage pot. We can adjust here. That's a bit too bright for the camera, I'm sorry, but here, so that's completely out of focus, by the way. And now the pot is unfortunately right at the very end, so it's almost out of range. Yeah, but if I I think that's the best I can get. And let's see if it's getting darker. So it's so the focus problem is gone now. So that's okay. Even at the brightest setting, it's still in focus. So that's a nice, sharp, bright picture, and I think the other controls, they do not need adjustment. I mean, there are more, of course, there's linearity and all this kind of stuff. But I think I will leave the settings as they are and put the cover back on. So that was the demonstration of my Macintosh II with its Xerox full-page monitor display. So that's it for today. Hope to see you next time. Goodbye.